ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome to the month of July. We are live on this Wednesday, July 1st. Going to talk a lot of ECU football today, specifically from the opponent preview category. Because we're running out of shows before our summer hiatus, we got to continue down the ECU schedule. We're going to get to in-state foe Charlotte with Hunter Bailey, who covers the Charlotte 49ers. We may ask him a Charlotte Hornets question or two as well. And then Army, back-to-back road games in November at Charlotte, at Army. We'll catch up with Sal Interdonato. To get the latest on the Black Knights, that November 21st game inside Michie Stadium could be for a lot of conference implications if these two teams live up to some of their preseason prognostications. So we'll talk Charlotte, we'll talk Army. That'll make up a good bulk of the show. But the comments section is open on YouTube, Facebook, and X during this Wednesday program. And tonight we have the return of the United States to the pitch to play their round of 32 matchup knockout stage. Philip Hilkinen producing today. He's got his USA gear on. I've got my red, white, and blue Under Armour shirt on. Philip, I'm jacked up for tonight. It'll be 8 o'clock, and I'm ready, man. Bosnia, and I can never say the second name.
Herzegovina.
U.S. the favorite here. I was looking at some of the odds pre-show. Minus 270 win in regular time, and minus 550 to qualify for the next round overall. Bosnia plus 400 if you're looking for an emotional hedge and to get some money back. But I don't know if I could even place that bet on a day like this. It's USA pride all the way. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good, and this whole 32 teams in the knockout stage gives me, a little extra juice. Yeah, it still only means you get into the round of 16, which has been kind of the normal exit for the United States in the past. But just to go in and have the opportunity to win a knockout stage game, normally they finish second in their group, and they go in there and they're playing some high-up European team. Back in 2014, I think it was Germany, and can't remember who it was the last World Cup, maybe the Dutch, and, just playing these big-time teams in the first knockout. It's like, the goal was to make it here, and now here we are. But the fact we actually had a chance to win a knockout game, this would be really awesome. And, it's starting right now. We got Democratic Republic of the Congo and England getting going first minute right now in that contest.
Bosnia in its group stage tied with Canada 1-1, lost to Switzerland 4-1, and beat Qatar 3-1. Now, if you're looking for another knockout game to watch, as Philip mentions the other action, Belgium, Senegal, that will be at 4, and the winner of that contest will play the winner of this contest on Monday, July 6th. So how much will you be watching Belgium and Senegal at 4 o'clock?
I'm really going to be locked into this one. Belgium is the slight favorite in this, but Senegal is one of the better countries in Africa when it comes to soccer, and they've overall been pretty tough out in the past. So this is not a team that you can take lightly. This is a team who has hung with big-time teams. So this could be a good opportunity. They, I think that's who USA played in one of their ramp-up games with Senegal. They played them in Charlotte a couple weeks before the tournament. Senegal, pretty good side. So I definitely think they could pull off the upset, and I sure hope they do. It's going to be a tough round if you do make it either way, no matter what side you see, but you'd definitely rather see them than a Belgian team who, let's be honest, is a backdoor contender to win this thing.
It does feel weird that the U.S. is favored going into the knockout stage. I mean, yes, they've made it to the round of 16 before, but it's like, I don't know, people just kind of assuming they're going to win tonight gives me a little bit of pause. Pulisic, I assume, will be good to go. Will be good to start after coming off the bench in the third game and playing a little bit. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's been so much buzz. I do wonder, does the pressure get to them and playing in their home country? I feel like the start of this game, if they can get an early goal, kind of like they did in the first two contests, it could really help to release the pressure, because there is that real fear of maybe, hey, we don't want to let our country down, so to speak.
No, I think that is 100% justified in everything you said, Steven. I think you hit the nail on the head. What I'm hoping, the one thing that may force them to not be susceptible to anything you just said, is there's been a couple upsets. Maybe they look up and go, ooh, just because you're the favorite doesn't mean you move on. And maybe they see that bigger than what they see everything you just said, because everything is what you said is true, man. There's pressure. You're minus whatever to win this thing in regulation. You're playing a country that Steven can't even pronounce. You're playing on home soil, right? So it's not like you're up there. Like I said, usually the first knockout game, because the round of 16 historically is the first knockout game, you're playing, a superpower, and you're not doing that. So there's that pressure, because let's be honest, if you lose this game, I mean, that is a freaking joke of a World Cup. If you do not make the round of 16, you underperformed at home. You can't underperform at home.
RB Pirate in the chat says Bosnia ranked 64th in the country, U.S. 17th. That's why. Also, by the way, the latest Pirates in the Pros show is out, Philip. And one of our commenters, Davy Jones, says you look like a James Bond villain in your profile picture for it. So
I can see that.
I don't know if I've seen. I did see I was watching the latest episode. I got through the first half this morning. You do kind of look a little, as I pulled up here, you look like you're in the Pirates of the Caribbean like movie graphics. So like the movie trailer or the movie art poster. So I think I can buy that. I think so. Check that out.
Dylan did a good job with
it. The Pros, 6/30/2026. That episode just dropped, and you guys can check that out. They talk Gio and Majuru, Jordan Riley, how they'll fit into their respective G League teams, and a whole lot more. So check that out. That'll be a weekly thing throughout the summer. All right, let's go ahead and get a break in, so that way we got plenty of time to get to our interviews today. We've got Hunter Bailey. He talks Charlotte 49ers. We'll get the latest on the 49ers program heading into Tim Albin's second year after a one-win season in 2025. So we'll talk Charlotte 49ers ECU next after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh! In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
He's got his finger on the pulse of ECU athletics. Word of caution, though, we're not sure where else he's had that finger.
Ew.
Back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into Hoist the Colors. We continue on now with our latest ECU football opponent preview. It'll be a late season matchup between in-state foes East Carolina and Charlotte, November 14th. In Charlotte, ECU will return to Jerry Richardson Stadium. We will get now the Charlotte perspective from Hunter Bailey, who covers the 49ers for the Highway 49 podcast. We'll probably talk some Hornets as well with Hunter. Hunter, first off, welcome back. Secondly, man, just what are the overall vibes going into the second year of the Tim Albin era in Charlotte?
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me. Overall, for Charlotte 49ers, I think they've just kind of gotten to the point where they know they can't go anywhere but up. So it's year 2 under Albin. They're bringing the same coordinator tandem back of Todd Fitch on offense and then Nate Fonez on the defense. Brought in a new quarterback, Cole Gonzalez, coming in. He's been a few stops. And then overall trying to improve on what they had. The offensive line is brand new, and the defense has a lot of familiar faces, which if you followed Charlotte last season, I think is probably a good thing overall. So they're getting ready for camp. They'll kick off early August for that and then get the season rolling, man. So it's coming soon.
You know, Coach Albin, obviously, we talked about when he was hired last year, Hunter. It was a great hire on paper, and he struggled, I believe, early in his time at Ohio, but then turned it around. Just, I mean, how do you kind of describe last year being as tough as it was, but also like you kind of knew they were going to take at least some lumps? So is there still optimism around his tenure?
I think so. I mean, he's known, as you mentioned, like his previous stops, Ohio being the most recent one. He was there for 20 years on staff and then I believe 4 as a head coach. So his first season, they only won 3 games, and then the next 3, they won 10 every season. That's kind of the hope here in Charlotte. I mean, they struggled a little bit more than that in year 1. Didn't beat an FBS team, struggled mightily with Monmouth, their only win of the season, coming pretty early in the non-conference. So you hope that they improve on that this year. The schedule definitely isn't super forgiving. I mean, they start with the Citadel, they head to Ole Miss, they got App State, obviously the huge game with ECU late in the season as well. But optimism, I mean, they're to a point where kind of the tenure, in my opinion, just got off to a rough start. Like Mike Hill, the former AD, makes the hire, which was his, third and final football hire, and not a lot of ADs get 3. And he's let go like in the middle of Albin's first season. So now you got Kevin White coming in, new AD, has already made a change with basketball. I think that they'd be foolish to just move on from Tim Albin. I mean, you mentioned him being a very, well-renowned coach, done a lot of good things in the MAC. And in my opinion, they just need to get the NIL right at Charlotte. The investment needs to be the same that they're putting towards basketball, which basketball is making a ton of games for the Charlotte 49ers. Like, that should be a really fun program to watch this year. And Kevin White's preference, or maybe favorite sport, is basketball. So with Charlotte being such a new football school, still less than 15 years old, I want to see them put the resources in and like make that program a priority. And because like I say, I think that they're going to make themselves look pretty bad if they move on from Albin in 2 seasons, just like they moved on from Biff Poggi in 2 seasons. So hopefully this is a bounce back here and he'll buy himself some time with getting up near that bowl game mark.
We're visiting with Hunter Bailey, who covers Charlotte and the Hornets for the Highway 49 podcast. Hunter, you kind of hit on it there, but just curious, like I always ask everybody to get on, just what's your sense of maybe where they stand in the American in terms of rev share, NIL? Is it towards the bottom, middle? What's kind of your gauge that? And a gauge on that, has it improved over the last couple of years, or is it still just a work in progress, as you kind of mentioned?
Yeah, I think they're still near the bottom of the conference. They've talked before like they plan to get up above, but then you look at the talent on the roster, and just for example, like Biff Poggi coming in, everyone kind of knew he was like that mob boss type dude, the former hedge fund manager, multimillionaire, taking over a program, and so he, I think, had a lot of NIL coming in that was different than maybe what they have now, different donors, some of his friends being very wealthy and interested in helping Biff out. So this is different for Tim Albin, who is like just relying on what the school is able to raise, the rev share, all of that good stuff. So, but just talent-wise on these rosters, it's a lot different. And what I mean by that is you can look across the board and say, all right, well, OG was taking a ton of Power 4 bounce backs, or guys that maybe struggled at first in the Power 4, came to Charlotte, and then went back to the Power 4 and are now in the NFL. You look at Nakai Hill-Green, you look at Demetrius Knight, the linebacker duo, his first season with Charlotte's. This group, maybe not as talented. I think they're trying to get more of the kind of people that are working up, guys that are coming from the FCS or JUCO or even Division II, to stick around and stay at Charlotte and develop versus having the 1-year rentals. So the talent level, this group has been a little lower, which just kind of leads me to believe that the NIL isn't where they want it to be, because Charlotte is a program that has shown that they can attract talent. But the biggest struggle with the Biff Poggi era was keeping them. So I think it's hopefully going to take a step in the right direction with Kevin White. I hope that they, like I say, kind of shell out the resources, make the connections and whatnot around the area that Charlotte needs. But I think this year will be really telling on that front.
All right, offensively, you mentioned Cole Gonzalez coming in, and I remember hearing his name as kind of an under-the-radar quarterback addition who had success previously, maybe didn't play a ton at Pitt. So I kind of like that move, under-the-radar move. They also returned Grayson Loftus and Connor Harrell. So do you expect it to be Gonzalez's job, or is there a competition there, and then kind of maybe assess the rest of the offense around him?
Yeah, so Cole Gonzalez coming in, he's made 3 different stops, started at Western Carolina, played well there, made like a quick pit stop in the spring at Oklahoma, and went, followed his OC to Pittsburgh. Served as a third-string quarterback there, really didn't see much time. And he actually has a family connection to Todd Fitch. I imagine after the way the last year played out, it's going to come down to Cole and then Connor Harrell. And Harrell tore his ACL, MCO, had just a brutal knee injury in the first American Conference game of the season last year against Rice. So he's still in a recovery process. He practiced during the spring and kind of individual drills, but nothing team related. So he's still working back to 100%. We talked to him back in March, early April. He had just started running again. So he's hoping to be ready by camp by the start of the season. But I imagine that, like I say, we saw the struggles with Grayson Loftus at quarterback last year. I can't imagine he's going to get starting reps. So I think it'll come down to those two, and maybe even a dual quarterback system, because Fitch doesn't necessarily rule any of that stuff out. So around those guys on the offense, like I say, completely new offensive line. I think the biggest hitter that they've got is Javen Williams coming in on the offensive line from Penn State. He's a former 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Didn't play a ton with the Nittany Lions, but you could tell in just the spring ball setting that that's kind of a man amongst boys in a sense. Then in the receiver room is completely new. They're replacing a ton of production. Guys like EJ Mason, Sean Brown, Javen Nicholas are all gone. So that is a big question mark. But they've got a slack guy, Jaden Barnes, coming in from App State. I'll be excited to see kind of how he fits into the offense, how they utilize him. The biggest thing that I want to see this year is like creativity in the offense. Last year they had so many injuries and so much kind of troublesome offensive line play that it was pretty clear they couldn't get to any concepts that they liked with consistency. So hopefully with this new offensive line group, the added depth there, that they've got at least some options to show some life, because 14.3 points per game, which is what they scored last year. You're not beating many teams. So hopefully it's a much better product on that side of the ball this season.
And then on the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned coordinator continuity as well there. Just kind of what's the outlook, and hopefully the offense, can help out that unit a bit with some longer drives and whatnot.
Yeah, so first downs would be nice. So yeah, the defense, a lot of familiar faces on that side of the ball. Nate Fanas is back, Caden Smith's at linebacker, and that pairing now with Gavin Willis, those will be the leaders of the defense. Gavin Willis will wear like the green dot, the headphone mic, and communicate with Fanas. This group returns a lot of guys in the front seven. DJ Burgess on the D-line, Jalen Johnson. They've added some guys as well. I'm much more excited about the defense. I like what they're doing. You could see on offense last year, it was just brutal. That's something that you knew you needed to rip down to the studs and completely rebuild. But the defense actually had some bones to it last year, and you saw at times, for example, the Tulane game, the South Florida game, just taking the ball off other teams at will. And they kind of found their stride late. But as you mentioned, the offense did them little to no favors. I mean, it was just 3-and-out after 3-and-out last season at literally a 33% 3-and-out clip. So if they can improve on that side of the ball, I think the defense is going to be much improved. The secondary is kind of a question. They've got some guys coming back. Dylon Womack is an interesting one to me. I assume he's going to be all over the field playing like a safety rover role. Excited about that group. And like I say, I think Fanas has got a lot to build on from year one. And I think it helps a lot that he's got a lot of those familiar faces coming back for year two.
Visit with Hunter Bailey. A few more things for him before we get out of here. He covers Charlotte for the Highway 49 podcast. All right, so the schedule, Hunter, it's you mentioned it, man. It's tough. You open with the Citadel, got to get that one, obviously, and then at Ole Miss, at App State, Louisiana, and Memphis at home back-to-back, then at North Texas, at Temple. Back half of the schedule, they play Tulane at home, have to go to UAB, get ECU at home, at Tulsa, and then Navy to close the season. So what's the fair expectation, man, with this schedule? Obviously, second year, I know people are hoping for some improvement. Is a bowl game, do you feel like that's a realistic goal? If they just get 4 to 5 wins, is that enough? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the floor is 1-11 again, with the Citadel being the win. I think the ceiling is probably 4 to 5 wins. It's, as I meant, I mean, you read through the schedule. You've got the defending American Conference champion, the runner-up, ECU, who is much improved and showed that against Charlotte last year. You get Navy. Every time Charlotte plays Memphis, it's like a barn burner, ridiculous game. There are some schools on here that are going through coaching changes, Memphis being one of those, North Texas. There's just a bunch of change across the American with a lot of guys making the jump to the P4. So it'll be interesting to see kind of the balance of power across the league. But I think the Ole Miss game will be pretty brutal, and then knowing you're coming off that against either the biggest or second biggest game of the season against App State, because that's how it's been the past 2 years. Scheduling wise, they've had an FCS, they've played an SEC school, App State, and then Charlotte was supposed to play Louisville this season, but that was scrapped for the Louisiana game. So I think that's favorable for Charlotte, because Louisiana is at least a winnable game for the 49ers. So you hope to be leaving that non-conference at least 2-2 if they're going to get to what I said was the ceiling, that 4 or 5 win mark. But it's tough, and they've got to figure out the quarterback position. Like I say, the injury just with Connor Harrell missing the season, they just had absolutely no continuity at quarterback. They tried different guys pretty much every week with Grayson Loftus, Zach Wilkie. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens this year with that position. But, yeah, if they're to get to 4-5, I think it's a massive success for Tim Alvin. I think he'll buy himself some time. But they can't just win one game 2 years in a row.
You also cover the Hornets. We got some Hornets fans in the area, Hunter, and obviously, man, a heck of an offseason thus far to cover. LaMelo Ball gets traded to the Timberwolves. They trade Miles Bridges as well. They re-sign Kobe White. So what do you make of this offseason? And then with free agency starting this week, man, what are you expecting on the Charlotte front for the Hornets?
Yeah, it's funny. Jeff Peterson said last year that what the team showed him before the trade deadline, he felt like he needed to let the season play out, let LaMelo Ball, Concanepple, Brandon Miller, obviously Miles, and then Musa have a run at it. And it was a ton of fun, man. They went 32-13 down the stretch. Were literally the best offense in the NBA after January 1st and had the 5th best defense in the NBA. So it is a little bit wild for them to see that progression with jumping from 19 wins into the mid-40s with the NBA's longest playoff drought to just say, hey, you know what? We're good on this. LaMelo, adios. Miles Bridges, adios. I like the return, at least in the interim. I want to see what happens next. What are they going to do with all these picks and these tradable contracts? Because Kobe White is a really fun player. He's great off the bench in that scoring role. He can pour in flurries. We saw that repeatedly last year with the Hornets. Now he's going to be heavily relied on as not just a scoring guard. He's going to have to set the table for the offense, which hasn't necessarily been his strong suit in the NBA. And then what happens with Brandon Miller, right? His numbers with LaMelo Ball on the court versus no LaMelo are drastically different. Kind of worrisome, knowing that he still struggles to create his own shot, and he's dealing with another surgery this offseason. So huge year. They're banking on Brandon Miller and Concanepple to take massive leaps next season. I like Naz Reid. I think that's a great signing. He fits what Charles Lee wants to do perfectly. I mean, a guy that can play the 4, stretch the floor, play alongside Musa, put the ball on the deck, get to the hole. All of these things are what Charlotte needs in that position. I will be curious what they do because they really, as I said with Kobe White, they don't have a facilitating guard right now. You hope that Christian Anderson, the rookie, can he averaged over 7 assists in college. Can he make that transition into the NBA and be an immediate impact player? Or do they need to go and get somebody like a Drew Holiday from Portland that's got ties with Charles Lee, fits into the numbers trade exception-wise with LaMelo's deal headed out the door, and find somebody with that kind of championship background to be a vet on the team? Because this is a much younger team. And Miles Bridges, as much flack as he gets, and rightfully so, he really was one of the leaders of this team. When you talk about the locker room, and players will tell you that, coaches. So it'd be interesting to see how they fill that void, but it really feels like a no-nonsense move from Jeff Peterson. They're trying to build younger. They're trying to stack draft capital in the future. I mean, they pretty much have, a tenth of the 2033 NBA draft in their pocket right now. We'll see how all of that comes together, but I'm hopeful that all of those new draft assets and these tradable contracts are, lining up for something much bigger, because this team right now, as it stands, is a play-in team again.
He is Hunter Bailey. Hunter, great stuff, man, on both the Hornets and the Charlotte 49ers front, and you can check it out more, Highway 49 podcast. Hunter, we appreciate the time, man. I'm sure we'll be connecting again. It'll be November 14th, ECU at Charlotte, and football. Looking forward to that and making the return to the Queen City, man. I appreciate the time today.
Yes, sir, and I'll be at that one, man. I missed the last one for a wedding, but I should be there, so looking forward to it. Looking forward to it for sure. He's Hunter Bailey. Again, check him out on X at Hunter_Bailey45. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. More Hoist the Colors on the way.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
The hatches are battened down. Shiver, big timber. Our timbers are shivered, and the colors are hoisted. Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Back in to Hoist the Colors. We did our Charlotte ECU football opponent preview earlier. We now go to the next game on the schedule. It'll be ECU at Army, November 21st in West Point. Pirates heading back to West Point for the second time in 3 years. We're joined by Sal Interdonato, who covers the Black Knights for BlackKnightNation.com. Sal, first off, welcome back to the show. Secondly, obviously, Jeff Monken comes into the American, wins a title year one. Last year, they start slow, pick it up, and finish strong. What are kind of the early expectations for 26 right now?
Yeah, it's kind of an optimistic expectations, I would say. I think Coach Monken has a lot of questions to be answered, even in preseason camp. So there's kind of a little bit of uncertainty, to be honest with you, because there's a lot back on offense. There's not much back on defense. So it's really finding those guys that can plug a lot of the holes that they're missing on defense from graduating 8 starters. And, it's kind of a wait-and-see approach. I mean, Army, it's a winning program. They want to get back to the top, near the top of the American Conference like they were in their first year. And it's all really going to depend on the defense pretty much.
Yeah, looking at the offense, man, I mean, we'll start there. Helms, I would assume, back as starting quarterback. I was impressed with him last year in the games I watched. I know he had some ups and downs, but going into his senior year, just how big of a leap can he make given the experience, kind of the adversity he went through last year?
Yeah, it's strange when you say leap, because I believe he was like, his numbers for rushing quarterbacks in the country were like one of the best. Right? And he didn't even play a full season. So what kind of leap can he take? Can he take that Bryson Daly senior year leap? I'm not sure that Army really needs him to do that to a point. Cale Helms is not going to rush for 2,000 yards and have, 32 touchdowns this year. I think that he has enough weapons and a supporting cast good enough where maybe they could take the load off him a little bit So who knows where his numbers are? I think the biggest stat of the year for him will be wins. How many games can he lead Army to a win in crunch time? There's times where he did succeed in those pressure moments, and there's times that they didn't get it done, those pressure moments last year, and that's why they ended up where they were. So now if he could take the leap to make those plays in the end, it's not necessarily going to see it in the stats, but you're going to see it in the win column, hopefully, for him.
Visiting with Sal Internado, who covers the Army for blackandwhitenation.com. What about the rest of the offensive pieces around Helms? It looks like a lot of the offensive line's back. I know they lose Noah Short, but the rest of that offense, Sal.
Yeah, they really got to find somebody to replace Noah Short's playmaking ability. Samari Howard's been a guy who started at slot back along with Noah last year. He's the next man up. He's going to be a senior. He made plays last year, not to the extent of Noah, but he's got to have a good senior year, Samari Howard, if that offense is going to work. And also, God's Power Wawihay. I mean, he's a guy who had a breakout bowl game against UConn in the Fenway Bowl. They're going to count a lot on God's Power Wawihay. They recruited him as a quarterback. They put him as a fullback, B-back, maybe middle of the season, gave him a couple carries here and there, but he really showed off against UConn in that Fenway Bowl. And the guy can do a lot of things. He's not just an in-between tackles runner. He can get to the outside. He showed some speed against UConn. He's going to be a lot of the focal point of their offense this year, I believe. And with Jake Randina and Carson Smith, experienced seniors at that B-back position that can get you that tough 1 or 2 yards on short yardage and maybe earlier in downs, I think they're pretty good on offense. They're not going to wow you to death, but they're going to have enough guys that could, like I say, can take the load off of Cale Helms a little bit.
Defensively, Nate Woody moves on to Cincinnati, and probably one of the top defensive minds in the country for those who aren't familiar. So losing their coordinator, a blow, but what have they done to replace him? Do you still expect the same system? And then just kind of the overall outlook on that side of the ball.
Yeah, Darryl Dixon is the new defensive coordinator. He's been on the staff of Army for close to a decade, I believe. He came over with Jay Bateman, and he's really good coach. He says he's going to keep a lot of Nate Woody's maybe structure to a point where they play they play a nickelback, kind of a combination nickelback linebacker at the line of scrimmage. He says he's going to keep it a lot of what he brought, but I like to see a little bit more wrinkles in their defense to where the blitzing is maybe different. The coverage is not as loose at times toward the end of the game. And with him being a corners coach and a secondary guru, I think their defense will improve in that aspect. They were okay last year in the secondary, even though they're missing some guys. They graduated a bunch of guys. I think that their defense will improve in the secondary as far as just schematically, I think. And then at the line of scrimmage, they're just going to have that defensive line with Cody Harris-Miller and Jack Bosom, led by those guys, hold their own because they're really young in the middle linebacker, inside linebacker position. That's huge in their defensive scheme. Those guys are set up to make plays, but you got a rotation of basically sophomores that are going to be competing in the preseason for those 2 starting jobs. I don't think you can name a starter right now in the inside linebacker position for Army as they head to preseason camp, and you could probably put 5, 6, 7 guys in the mix competing for those 2 jobs.
So when you look at Army and obviously Navy in the American and in college football, it's such an interesting discussion from my point of view because so many of these teams in the American get gutted every year due to the portal. They can also use the portal and NIL to bring in talent. Army and Navy kind of have an advantage of more continuity, although they do lose players as well. Do you feel like it's kind of what initially I thought might be a disadvantage for an Army may have turned into an advantage where, I feel like the continuity they're going to have from year to year most years can kind of play up? Do you kind of believe in that too?
Yeah, I think it works to their advantage because especially this year, right? They're missing. They have to replace so many people on defense. And they build these guys through the program. You had guys last year that didn't start a lot, like Colin Madison and Gavin Shields, and they were excellent in Army's defense. And that was their first year starting as seniors. So I think it's more you build yourself through the program. I talked with an offensive lineman commit, a kid who's going to be a senior in high school out of Virginia, and he said the reason why he committed to Army is because it's the way they develop their guys, the way they're able to develop players, and they're not getting guys in and out of the transfer portal. So not only does it help during the season for guys who have been in the program and get on the field confidently, maybe later their junior or senior year, it also helps in recruiting, knowing, hey, I know the group of guys I'm going to play with. I know the coaches I'm going to have for the most part, especially at the top, and younger players feel comfortable in that. So I do think it is an advantage for service academies. I think that some kids may chase the NIL money. You can't blame them for that. But if you want to win and if you want to have a future that's not football after your college days, those service academies are a great place to go.
All right, this schedule, Sal, it's pretty manageable. They open with Bryant's. We did our USF preview the other day, and that week 2 game in Mikey Stadium is going to be crucial. USF at Army, but how do you feel how this schedule kind of breaks for the Black Knights on paper?
It's a lot tougher than they've had in the American, especially that home schedule. I mean, when you have East Carolina coming, when you have Tulane coming, and South Florida, your first league game at home. Those are 3 teams that you expect to be near the top of the conference, right? And then you have Memphis on the road. Their road schedule is a little bit easier, but they haven't played Memphis in conference yet. They got to get Memphis, who's going through some changes, at the top, but still there should be a pretty good program. Their conference schedule's tougher. I was talking with Seth Mendelson about this earlier today. They need to find a way to go 5-3 in conference minimal to have a pretty successful season. So they need to win at home, which is last year they stumbled a little bit at home against Tulsa and North Texas. They need to try to find a way to get 3 or 4 home wins in conference to be competing for a conference title and a successful season in a bowl game. So we'll see if they can pull that off.
Yeah, that November 21st game, obviously we're talking ECU Army. I mean, that could be potentially, Sal, who really knows with the conference, as we said, but that could have a lot of conference implications. Army will be coming off a bye, late season bye. ECU gets Charlotte the week before, so I don't know. November 21st could be a big one, and then they finish obviously with Rice before the Navy game. But just kind of looking ahead here, that could be a big one. And last time I was at Mikey Stadium, they were doing the construction on the Hudson River. How has that project come along? Is that finished?
Yeah, it's ready to go for the first game against Bryant. So it's gonna be a different Mikey Stadium. It's gonna be I'm gonna say it, Steve. It's gonna be a more corporate Mikey Stadium because the reason why they did that is to put luxury. One of the reasons why they did that, the stadium's old and needed a little bit of a touch up and stuff, but also to put luxury boxes in on that side of Mikey Stadium. The cadets will be lined up from goal line to goal line on that side, and that's where the visitor sideline is too, so that you'll have the atmosphere for that. They won't be behind the goalpost anymore in the north end zone, so that may play to Army's advantage as a home field advantage, so to speak, with all the cadets there making noise behind the visiting team. So it should be interesting. I'm kind of old school. I kind of like the iconicness of Mikey Stadium. And that new project takes a little bit of that away because you're not going to see the Lusk Reservoir in the back anymore, I don't believe. But it should be good. It's more modernized now, a little bit more modernized. So when East Carolina comes in late in the season, that's going to be a great game, and hopefully it's a great atmosphere to be at, and hopefully it has a lot on the line too.
Sal Interdonato, who covers Army for the BlackKnightNation.com. We will ask him a few more things to get him out of here. All right, so really, 2 successful years, obviously, in the American, certainly the first year, but 2 straight losses to Navy, Sal. So we've talked about this before, how important that game is. First off, how big is it for Army to get back on the winning side there? And then what do you think about all this discussion, potentially, talk about moving the game, keeping it on its own date? Just what do you make of all that?
Yeah, as far as getting back at track against Navy, I mean that's 365 for Army. That rivalry and beating Navy. Of course, it's all over the campus and it's all over their athletic facilities too. You got to get on track in that series. I mean, you had their number for a while, and now Navy's had their number. But with Blake Horvath graduating, you think that this year the quarterback will be Cale Helms. He's played in that game before, so maybe it could be Army's year. But you just never know what the teams are going to look like toward the end of the season. So we'll see what that happens. I think that this whole college football has just moved in a direction where pretty soon you're not going to see that game alone on the first or second Saturday in December. I think they're going to have to move that game because I think both Navy and Army have aspirations to win the conference and get into the college football playoff. So when is it going to be moved? I'm not sure. I would say like a Thanksgiving weekend would be pretty good, but then they say, cadets and midshipmen may be on leave at that point, and you want to have the full student bodies of both programs at the game. So I think it's a wait and see approach. I think that Jeff Monken even said maybe that it might be inevitable that the game gets moved. I think they want to keep it where it is, but it's all about TV. If CBS Sports says, "Hey, we got to move this game," they're going to move the game. I think that it's going to be eventually going to be something that happens down the future. I'm not sure if it's like the next couple of years or not.
All right, final thing for Sal Interdonato, who covers Army. I got to ask you about our Mariners, man.
Please don't. Please.
Disappointing year to this point. But, hey, I mean, they're still, half a game out of first place today. Are you a believer in the second half of the season? Can they get hot at the right time?
I'm not sure. I thought they had pretty much control of it when they had a 2.5 game lead, and now Texas Rangers are not losing games, and we're fumbling the usage of our bullpen. What are we doing with those two guys in the 8th inning the other night that I've never even heard of before? I mean, the fan base wants Dan Wilson fired. He's not getting fired. He's basically being told by the front office what to do and those type of moves. I mean, you really need the offense to. Man, I really hope Cal has a good second half. If Cal has a good second half, we'll be fine. If Cal's still hitting under 200 and you're getting a hit or here or there every third game from him that means something, it's going to be a problem. They probably have to do something to get a bat, right? They probably need an outfield bat. I love the year Dom Canzone has. Why is Rob Refsnyder on the team? He shouldn't even be on the team now. He's on the injured list. They couldn't eat the $6 million that they paid him this year. It's ridiculous that the front office and ownership is holding back this team. That's my opinion of it. I mean, yeah, they went all in for Brandon. Well, they didn't go all in. They got Brandon Donovan. He hasn't been on the field at all, barely enough to make a difference. And now you're getting by with sometimes these rookie guys, Cole Young and Cole Emerson, are coming up with big hits for you. And yeah, they're the future, but your present is to get to the World Series. And, man, if they can't win the AL West, I think fire everybody. I think just fire everybody. That's my opinion.
I'm with you, man, especially this year in this American League and this American League West. But, yeah, Cal Raleigh hitting a torrid 164, and he just hasn't seemed right since that whole Randy Arozarena situation at the World Baseball Classic. But, yeah, frustrating year, man. But, hey, maybe they can turn it on in the second half. Well, Sal Interdonato, we appreciate it, man, from Black Knight Nation. We'll connect again in November. Who knows? Maybe we'll be talking about a Mariners World Series. But either way, we'll be previewing ECU and Army. Appreciate you, man.
Anytime, man. Thanks a lot, Steve.
All right, that's Sal Interdonato, who covers Army for BlackKnightNation.com. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show after this.
The power of savings is yours at Greenville Toyota with powerful deals on our huge selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or the all-new RAV4, $279. Don't miss the power of savings at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Need cash for a vacation? National Finance Company is here to help. For over 50 years, National Finance Company has been the small loan specialist with loans from $1,000 to $5,000 with low payments to meet your budget. We're in the business of getting you the cash you need today. Apply online for a loan at one of our convenient branch offices and get your money as fast as today. It's easy. Get the vacation cash you need. For extra cash, visit nfcmoney.com.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
A hunting and fishing event of the summer comes to the Greenville Convention Center, July 11th and 12th, bringing together the best hunting and fishing vendors, outfitters, and fishing experts, all under one roof. Special free events, including a mountain trout pond, indoor archery range, offshore fishing experience, interactive duck blind, and free seminars. Don't miss it. The Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo is July 11th and 12th.
With new Toyota trucks from $259 a month, you've got the power of savings at Greenville Toyota. Drive Tacoma's $259 a month or Tundra's only $399 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back. Final segment here. Hoist the Colors. Final few minutes of the show. Philip Pilkington rejoins us, 94.3 The Game studios. Philip, it is a shame that people, if they cared, which they probably don't care to hear Sal Interdonato's Mariners and I chat, but if they were wanting to be entertained by some colorful language, we should have kept the post-interview chat rolling, because Sal just kept going. He even threw out the idea of doing a Mariners podcast, which on entertainment alone, from his perspective, might be worth it.
You know, it was funny. I was sitting there, so full disclosure, we had to tape this about 11 o'clock for Sal's schedule. And I was like, man, he's going on a rant. I'm going to throw out, let's do a Mariners podcast. I'll produce it. And right as I was about to butt in and say it, Sal's like, I think this would be a great Mariners podcast. It would have to, there's a reason we did not keep it in. And it's because the FCC would be issuing many subpoenas to Henry Hinton, and Stephen and I would be getting fired.
Yeah, he was going on, but can't disagree with much of what he was saying. All right, so NBA free agency, for those that care, underway. Your Celtics have signed Mike Conley, 14th, to reach 20 seasons played. So he's going to play for the Celtics. He also signed Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks, defensive player. And the post-LeBron Lakers trade for Walker Kessler gave up a ton for him. We'll see if it's worth it to pair with Luka and obviously Austin Reeves. And they've also signed 3 free agents, including Quentin Grimes and Colin Sexton. So I don't know, like NBA free agency to me has kind of lost its luster with this new collective bargaining agreement. It used to be kind of a flurry of moves. Now it's kind of like a trickling of moves that are not as big, but I feel like it's at least been somewhat noteworthy to this point.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, it's one of those things where the team, you mostly just look at the teams who already have almost what it takes to win, right? Are they able to go out there and sign, hey, we need a sixth man, or we need we've got our stars and our best supporting player. Can we get another decent support player, fourth best player kind of deal? So those are the kind of guys you're looking at, the kind of teams you're looking at with this, man. Walker Kessler, though, man, they gave up 2 first-round picks. There's some pick swaps in there. He's big. He's a solid basketball player. Actually, he's a really good basketball player. But, I was texting Dom, I was like, man, in 1975, this might have been a hell of a move. They're also paid him out the rear end. And we're just living in an era of basketball. It's not really a big man's game. So that's interesting. So I don't know, man. We'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, I mean, it's It's probably that, and it's partly, man, I just think people care less and less about the NBA.
Yeah, can't disagree there. All right, I wanted to get your take on the Wilson Contreras and Cade Cavalli situation. So Cavalli struck out Wilson Contreras of the Red Sox. Cavalli's a pitcher for the Nationals. Led to kind of a brief brawl and benches clearing situation on Tuesday night. He caught him looking with a 3-2 breaking ball in the fourth inning. And this from the article, what initially looked like a routine strikeout became a lot more when Cavalli was caught audibly by a TV microphone, shouted, "Sit down, boy." And Contreras, mouthed back, "Are you talking to me?" And then stormed the mound, threw his helmet. He said, "I'll let MLB handle that," as far as, the disciplinary action on both sides. So, I don't know. Look, Contreras, no stranger to being involved in these altercations. But I did think Cavalli was kind of asking for it. They're like, this is stuff you see kind of in college baseball, like mouthing off to the guy for strikeout. Like MLB, if you do this, you usually pay the price if you're the pitcher or the batter. If you're, like, talking smack in the middle of a game usually doesn't go over too well.
Yeah, I've always been one of those, you don't want me dancing in your own zone, keep me out of it kind of deal. I have no problem with guys celebrating, but it's usually, you're supposed to celebrate the strikeout more than you are directed at the guy. I definitely think it warranted a response. I do not think it was enough to warrant a helmet throw. I think Contreras stepped over the line with that, but I think definitely going out there and making it be known like, hey, you're not going to direct it directly at me is okay. Full disclosure though, I got home from dinner and sat down, turned it on, and it just happened. So I was in the process of catching up and trying to process everything. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's baseball. Again, probably shouldn't have thrown the helmet. Your dogs are obviously very opinionated on the situation as well. And but hey, it's baseball. Whatever. 162 games, you strike out in front of that many people, you're going to be ticked off, especially when somebody tries to show you up.
Game was delayed 11 minutes as a result of the really both benches clearing. But I don't know, it's some drama in late June in MLB when it can be kind of the dog days of the summer. So I wasn't complaining as a baseball fan. We are out of time. Again, I'd like to appreciate and shout out Philip Pilkin for his work behind the scenes. Also, Sal Interdonato and Hunter Bailey for their previews of Army and Charlotte, respectively. We'll be back Thursday. We'll have our final opponent preview, FAU, and then we're going to rank all 12 games on ECU's schedule from least difficult to most difficult. Looking forward to that. And my final appearance of the year, the penultimate episode of the season for Hoist the Colors. We'll be back Thursday. See you then.
Recap of this show at 943thegame.com and on your IB